when you do things you love with the people you love, great things can happen. David Rainwater of North Little Rock, Arkansas, so eloquently put this last night. And you really, honestly, you guys, it hit me. This man got up and gave an amazing speech, and he really explained how the Amp Out Alls fundraiser started 12 years ago when Stephanie had an idea of a way to get people together, the caregivers of those with Alzheimer's, dementia, and other chronic illnesses, to bring them together in a fun-filled atmosphere, dancing, jamming out to an awesome band here in Little Rock. And David had no idea about Alzheimer's Arkansas until Stephanie Cook mentioned it to him. So stay tuned. You're going to hear more about David and Stephanie. You're going to hear about everything that's been going on in the last 4 months since we took a break for the summer and ended season 1. Welcome back to Spotlight with Britt, season 2.
I'm coming in hot.
Welcome back to Spotlight with Britt. It's me. I have missed you all immensely, and I cannot wait to jump in and let you know what has been going on since the close of season 1. I hope that you caught all of the episodes, and if you didn't, that's totally fine, because guess what? You can find them anywhere that you listen to podcasts. I really hope that you enjoy them. Give me all the feedback that you can. But in the meantime, let me let you know what's been going on the last 4 months since we had our last interview. First and foremost, season 1 ended. I really didn't know that I was going to end season 1 when I did, but some things happened, and I figured I'm just going to roll with the punches and bring it to a close. There were some awesome opportunities to tell stories of individuals that have overcome some struggles, some trials, some very testing moments of their faith and their aspirations and their hopes and dreams. So, the end of March, I went to Podcast Movement Evolutions in Los Angeles. So that was Podcast Movement Evolutions 2024. And while I was gone, my laptop died. That was so crazy. I literally got to the airport. We were waiting to board our plane to go to Los Angeles. My laptop was working fine. We got to the hotel, and that hotel was beautiful. We checked in the room, and the next thing I know, I go to log in, and I have no internet. I thought maybe something was wrong with my Wi-Fi. Okay, how often do we have glitches with our computers? It happens more often than I'm sure we'd all like to admit, but especially when we need to do something important, when we're not easily accessible to another device, which, like I said, I'm in Los Angeles, so hundreds of thousands of miles away from Little Rock, and just really in I didn't want to say a panic state, but I was a little panicked. Thankfully, I had 2 of the awesome co-founders of the Arkansas Podcast Collaborative with me, Ty and Karen, and they were so gracious to let me use their laptop when I needed, but it really, there wasn't a whole lot of time for it. I met some amazing podcasters even before I knew that they were speakers at the event. Whenever I got back from Podcast Movement, then things really started to get a little crazy. Not only did I have to play catch up for the whole week that I was gone, my dad had surgery. He had neck surgery. And, after surgery, they tell you that you're supposed to take a rest and you're supposed to really relax, let your body heal, don't jump into things too quickly, and you probably don't know much about my mom and dad unless you know me personally, so I'm just going to tell you. They are both very strong-willed, hard-headed, and, it's really hard when you're so used to up, going, being independent, doing things for yourself, to stop, take a breather, let other people do things for you. I'm sure you can all relate to that. And unfortunately, that's what happened with my dad. He had a little bit of a setback from his neck surgery. Fast forward, we are hoping that he's on the uphill climb. If you missed the announcement in season one, I am now not so newly engaged, being August of 2024, but I was proposed to by my fiance, Paul Goodman, the first Sunday in January, January 7th, 2024. So we have got 128 days from the day of this podcast launch, this episode being published, and I'm really excited. We're in the thick of things. He found a website, The Modern Groom, so he's got a custom fitted suit and he's going to be able to keep that. So, shout out to anyone that you know that may be getting married anytime soon. This is a really cool website. Y'all know that I'm in digital media, website design, marketing, all that jazz. And so this is an awesome concept. Shout out to the Modern Groom. He's got all of his. I mean, he has a full suit. So he's got the three-piece suit, the tie, the belt, the shoes, everything, and he gets to keep it for like $300, y'all. Custom fit. Only thing we have to do is go and get the hem done in the pants, and he's ready to rock and roll. I actually, being the procrastinator that I am, can very happily announce I purchased my dress in January. I secured the venue for our wedding and reception. So we're doing the ceremony and this reception all in the same venue at the Greens at North Hills. So I've had to cut back my list multiple times. I unfortunately am not going to be able to invite all of you that are near and dear to my heart that I would love to have at the wedding, but never fear, there's going to be an after party. So we have the whole day, y'all. I'm so excited. We got a great deal on the whole day from 8 a.m. until midnight. So it's hopefully going to be a very stress free, or as much as of a stress free day as it can be for me on December 21st this year, 2024. Anyway, so got the venue secured, got the dress, all that stuff. Right now, I'm figuring out the cake. We already have all of our decisions made on our dessert bar. I'll tell y'all more about that when it comes closer to the wedding. We're still figuring out flowers. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with some roses. Shout out to Sam's. They have a very cheap, well, cheap, I would say inexpensive way to get roses. So you can actually get like 150 roses for around about $1 a stem. So that's fantastic. Thanks to the person that referred me to that avenue to get my flowers. And shout out to my awesome bridesmaids and family that's going to help do the decorating of the venue and doing the flower arrangements and everything. So y'all, I'm really blessed and thankful for everyone that's chipping in, everyone that's given me advice, everyone that's encouraged me, and everyone that has kept me more at ease than I thought I would be at this point, especially with everything else that's been going on and that's coming up in the course of the next few months. So, back on track to what's been happening. So, we have started planning for RCAST. We started that several months ago. If you're not familiar with RCAST, we are in our third year. It is the Arkansas Podcast Festival, presented to you by the Arkansas Podcast Collaborative. And we are kicking that off in September here in Little Rock with our Central Arkansas portion. And then we're taking it to Northwest Arkansas for that segment, and that's going to be in November. So things are quickly escalating there. Shout out to anyone that would be interested in donating a door prize, that would be interested in being a sponsor for our event. Y'all, I'm helping with the planning. actually the event promotion and a little bit of the fundraising. So we also have a planning committee. Shout out to everyone that's on our planning committee for our cast this year because I'm so grateful we have them. I know that I would be a much crazier woman right now if we didn't, because with everything else going on, yeah, it's such a blessing. We are over halfway through the Alzheimer's Arkansas podcast, season one of I Didn't Sign Up for This. And I'm going to tell you in just a few about the event that I attended August 14th of 2024. It was their annual Champions event, fundraiser, recognizing all of the different caregivers and the champion of the year, David Rainwater. If you heard at the beginning of the episode, if you recall, I quoted David Rainwater's quote that he gave last night in his speech. When you do things you love with the people you love, great things can happen. I I was so impressed. I'd never met this man before. David Rainwater is one of the partners, the founding partners of used to be Mangan Holcomb Partners and Team SI. Now it is MHP SI, a very well known marketing and advertising agency here in Little Rock, Arkansas. David got up and was the champion of the year. And again, I'm going to tell you more about that in just a minute. But it was just amazing, y'all. If you are not familiar with Alzheimer's Arkansas, please go back and check out the episode in season one where I interviewed Stephanie Cook, the executive director. Now that I've told you about I didn't sign up for this, let me let you in on a little secret. So, as you may have heard, my business, American Business Engine, is part of the North Little Rock Chamber of Commerce member family. And I will say family because if you have never been to the North Little Rock Chamber, then you're missing out. And I would love to have you at an event anytime soon. Let me know. I'll get you plugged in where you need to be. And it's just an amazing family, honestly. We have so many friends, so many referral connections that we have met across the last 6 years that American Business Engine, Ty and myself, that we've known each other and that we've known this amazing group of people, this awesome team of employees that run the North Little Rock Chamber of Commerce and that are helping plan the 2024 hottest golf tournament in town, the annual North Little Rock Chamber of Commerce golf tournament. That is kicking off today. So it is Thursday, August 15th and Friday, August 16th. If you do not know about it, check out my Facebook. We have pictures from last year. There's going to be plenty of pictures from the 2024 event. There is just a ton of opportunity for networking around Central Arkansas. And if you haven't heard me plug it before, that's a huge thing to me. Getting involved in the community, giving back. And if that's something that you're interested in, you're in the right place to listen to the podcast because, again, if you haven't heard any of the previous episodes or if you don't recall from an episode, at the end of each episode of an interview, I will ask the person that is being interviewed, tell me a nonprofit or an organization with which you are affiliated and that you find passion in volunteering time, really just getting back in the community and giving back to those different organizations and cities, supporting local businesses and networking because it's a great way to grow connections, whether that's professionally or personally. And I'm just going to stop talking about networking for a minute because I could go on all day in that discussion. So, North Little Rock Chamber of Commerce has their annual Public Safety Awards. We had that a few months ago, and Shay Cobbs, she is an officer with the North Little Rock Police Department, and she heads up the Shop with a Cop. They do that every Christmas, where Shay or some of the other North Little Rock police officers in the past have been able to take children that are less fortunate in and around the city to go and find some things that they want for Christmas. And we know for a fact that these children are really in need. And honestly, I have lived in North Little Rock all my life, soon to be 36 years, October the 15th. And it is just so inspirational to me to see the work that Shay puts into the community. She was recognized at the Public Safety Awards banquet, and we also held a fundraiser for her, and it was a collaboration with Vicki McLeod. So, if you don't know Vicki McLeod, she is co-owner with her husband Neil at McLeod and Associates. Miss Vicki also is very much an advocate for community service and networking and just giving back to those in need and supporting local businesses. So Vicki and I talked, and we just were very excited about being able to do this and help share the knowledge of the organization, or actually of the purpose of the Shop with a Cop event. So hopefully when you hear this podcast, I'm going to encourage you to go and share that and let other people know. Tell somebody about Shop with a Cop. Have them reach out to me if that's something that they're interested in doing. If they want to make a donation to the cause, we're trying to get about 50 children to be able to go and shop with a cop this Christmas 2024. So honestly, y'all, this was a great time. We met over at a chamber business in Little Rock, Cantina Laredo. If you've not been to Cantina Laredo, quick plug for them. Chris Lane and his team are phenomenal. They have amazing food. The location is right over in Midtown across from Park Plaza Mall on University. And we had an amazing time. Miss Vicky actually donated a credit card processor. That's what she does on a daily basis. She's in credit card processing. So shout out to McLeod and Associates. Give them a call if you have a small or medium sized business and you are currently processing credit cards, because I have a feeling that Neil and Vicky can hook you up and save you some money. So, after the event that we had for the fundraiser for Shop with a Cop, our golf committee meetings kicked off. I am actually part of the golf committee for the golf tournament. So, we, over the last few months, have been calling on chamber members and other businesses to support this event. It's an annual event. It is, again, called the hottest golf tournament in town. So I believe the temperature is supposed to be 100 for the Thursday games, and or rounds of golf, excuse me, and then about 94 for Friday. So it is definitely going to be hot, but no matter what, we're going to have a great time. Again, networking with some really great people and businesses that enjoy supporting North Little Rock and the North Little Rock Chamber. We have got a lot of opportunities, again, to network at the Chamber, not only at the Chamber, but with the Arkansas Podcast Collaborative, other clients of ours. So let me know if you would like to get involved in the community and meet some new people, because I have got a ton of connections for you. So, another thing that's happened since you last heard from me, I did the dementia experience. So, Alzheimer's Arkansas has a setup where, quick synopsis, and if you can picture this with me, you go in, you fill out your, sign in, put your contact information. They set you up at a table. You have gloves that you put on, so they're like gardening gloves. They've got that rubberized texture on the fingertips. They put you on a pair of goggles that have a yellowish kind of frosted film on the inside of them, so it inhibits your vision. Then they give you these inserts for your shoes. So they're plastic and they have these little indentations on the backside of them. So when you put them in your shoe, you feel it's kind of a feeling like you're walking on rocks, like it's puncturing a little bit in your feet, not like through the skin or anything, but you get the feeling of what it's like for those individuals that have neuropathy. You've got that pain in your feet. So you start experiencing all these different symptoms, and honestly, that's overwhelming in itself. Okay, they give you a set of earplugs that kind of gives you the idea of what it's like when people start to lose their hearing a little bit. And from there, they take you into a room that they have set up. So, and you don't get to see this room before you go in. They take you in this room and then they say, okay, we have a list of tasks that we want you to do. We're going to read the list to you one time. At the end of that, we're going to give you X amount of minutes, and then want you to see if you can do as many of these tasks as you can remember, and we'll see how you do when it's all said and done. So I'm sitting there and I can't even remember everything they wanted you to do, but they wanted you to fill a water bottle, or take your water bottle and fill a cup half full. That was one of the things. Y'all, I had on these gloves, right? So you know how gardening gloves have the grips on them. You have this water bottle that, first of all, you have these goggles on, and so you can't clearly see the water bottle. You have these gloves on, so you're gripping the bottle, but sometimes water bottles tend to be a little thin on plastic, and so you could even like squeeze it too tightly, and then your water goes everywhere. You have these gloves on, and you're trying to unscrew the cap on this water bottle. You have those goggles on again, right? Keep this in mind. So you're trying to pour half of a cup full of water. So then, obviously, you have both hands full. You've set that cap down from the water bottle. Once you fill your cup, as well as you can see, close to half, set the cup back down. Well, then you can't totally see clearly to where you set down the cap for the water bottle. So that's hard trying to find that. They want you to match 2 pairs of socks. They want you to take a certain colored shirt and put it on a hanger. You're trying to button the shirt. And again, these gloves, right? It's so hard for you to be able to get that button in through the hole, much less all of the buttons, but just the first one. It was so frustrating. I literally just decided, you know what, I'm done. I set that down. I didn't even worry about putting it all the way on the hanger. Then they wanted you to go over and do something with your meds that you were supposed to take that day, and all these different tasks. All along the while, you're standing up and you have these inserts in your shoes. And you know what, like when you're standing on rocks, how it's uncomfortable and you just have to keep shifting your feet. Okay, this is worse than rocks, y'all. Like, so much worse. So this whole time I'm trying to do these other tasks that I've had to put and keep to memory, can't have them repeated back to me. And I just want to sit down. Like, it was so much, such an overload of senses, and I did not, needless to say, I did not get all of the tasks completed, and there were some tasks that I forgot, and by the end of it all, I really can see how frustrating it is, not only to be someone that has been diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's, because you have that forgetfulness, right? You have these issues that are touch and vision and all these different things that become inhibited the more that this disease progresses. And so, all in itself, like, this dementia experience was that was a once in a lifetime, like, you should go and do it. And if you would like to go experience the dementia experience, put something in the comments, let me know, send me a message on social media, whatever you want to do. And I would love to get you in touch with Stephanie and Carolyn so you can go check this out and get to know more about Alzheimer's Arkansas. We have contracted with a new client, and it's the National Peer Recovery Alliance. And the National NPRA, National Peer Recovery Alliance, they work with peers across the United States. And so we're working on a lot of things for them. Ty and myself actually recently attended the Denim and Diamonds fundraiser that they hosted, and the 2006 Miss USA came and spoke, and she had an amazing testimony. And y'all, if you don't know someone, if you yourself have not experienced any type of addiction, whether that's drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever the case may be, if you have not personally experienced it, I'm willing to bet that, sorry, that was kind of bad to say, I'm willing to bet if we're talking about gambling addictions. But I would almost guarantee that you know someone, either in your family, a friend, or a family member or friend of a friend, that has experienced some form of addiction. There are plenty of resources across Arkansas, and I feel very fortunate that we're able to represent a couple of the RCOs, or the recovery community organizations, such as Exodus Life and NEA Divine Intervention out of Northeast Arkansas. Thank you to everyone that has supported these nonprofits and everyone that is interested in learning more about them. That's something that you can find out also on my social media. You can reach out to me, put something in the comments of this podcast, wherever you're listening to the episode. Let me know if that's something you're interested in learning more about. And just stay tuned, because NPRA is growing by leaps and bounds. We have some partnerships that we're looking into, and I can't wait to give you all more information as those develop and more events come up where you can come out, find out more about these organizations, and get involved and give back. In addition to the new contract with NPRA, I had the chance to have the first family reunion with my dad's side of the family, and I'm currently planning one with my mom's side of the family. You know, that's kind of one of those things that nobody ever really does anymore. I feel like it was something that happened whenever our great grandparents and our grandparents were still alive. But the older we get, those trends have just kind of dissipated, and nobody really does anything like that anymore. So it was a really great experience. We actually did it over the weekend of Father's Day. So my dad, my brother, my sister, everybody came into town. My grandmother's cousin came in from Texas. We went camping at Lake DeGray, and it was just a great time. I highly encourage you to take time. Again, reflect on what David Rainwater said. I definitely believe that that is fact, and I am going to encourage you all from now on to please make sure that you do something with your loved ones, that you are actively taking time to call, visit, something, write them a letter even. Stay connected with family, because everyone knows that we are not promised tomorrow. And if you have someone that comes across your mind, family or friend, the least you can do is send a text. Tell them, hey, I'm thinking about you. Personalize it. Send a card. Do something special. And that you just have no idea what kind of an impact that can make in their life. more on family. So, my mom actually had a couple of stays in the hospital over the course of 2 weeks back in June as well. And she had some issues that had been going on for a while, progressively getting worse. This is going to be my push to tell you that if you know your body as well as you should, the older you get, when you start feeling off, don't delay. Go see your doctor, get your checkup, have your blood work done, make sure that you're staying conscious of your health because you only get one body and we only get one life to live. Remember that show, One Life to Live, that soap opera back in the day? Yeah, that's a little throwback Thursday for you. When she finally went, we got great care at UAMS. The team of doctors and nurses that she had were phenomenal. They ensured that she did not get sent home until they knew exactly what was going on, that everything, all of her levels were back in normal range or as close to normal as possible. And I'm so grateful for that. I will say at first I was a little disappointed because she was at Baptist Hospital initially, and I know you never know what happens. Hospitals are a very interesting place, and unfortunately, this time we did not have a great experience. And I tried to talk to the administrator, but they had already told my mom that she was being discharged, and unfortunately, she was ready to go. And hindsight, I feel like it was a blessing, but in the moment, just like any of us would be for especially our mother, but a close family relative, you you want to make sure that they're okay. And the situation in which she was discharged, I did not feel like it was a very safe and right decision that they discharged her, but neither here nor there. It led us to UAMS, and like I said, she got great care. Plug to the UAMS envoys. This is a little separate, but I was an envoy ambassador for the UAMS Winthrop Rockefeller Cancer Institute for 2024, and I've actually been accepted to the board. So now I am going to be, as of next week, officially a board member for the 2024-2025 year and the next couple thereafter. So if you need to learn more about UAMS, in particular the amazing institution of the Cancer Institute, I would love to give you more information. I know a lot of people that have had treatment through the Cancer Institute. I know quite a few individuals that are on the team. I've met some of the physicians over there, y'all. They are an extremely intelligent group of people, and those physicians can do so many great things. And honestly, we've heard that people come from across the country because of the research, the developments, and the treatments that have come from everything that's gone on over there in the last several years. So, UAMS, yes, was great to my mother. Thankfully, she is back on the mend. Low sodium, y'all. You wouldn't think about your sodium possibly being something that being out of whack could affect you so dramatically, but if you get low sodium, even though cardiologists will tell you limit your salt intake, well, different things can contribute to your low sodium, and different signs of that are nausea, loss of appetite, vomiting, lightheadedness, rapid heart rate, high blood pressure, um, dizziness, the seizure. My mom actually had a couple of seizures when she was initially being admitted at Baptist, and we did not know that with your low sodium, you actually, when they administer the sodium to get your levels back on track, they have to administer it slowly, because if they don't, then that can cause your brain to swell, causing you to have seizures. If you don't go and get your yearly checkup, I encourage you to do that. If you don't have a primary care physician, please go find one. I just really believe in finding the right doctor for you. And yes, sometimes it's hard because you might get a doctor that moves around from one practice to the next, but hopefully you can find one that is consistent and that is going to know what's going on with you, your case, and be able to help treat whatever illness or sickness that you have going on at that point in time, get you to the right specialist when needed, and I will definitely recommend UAMS in Little Rock. Again, my mom is healthy. Thank you for all the prayers. And if you ever have any questions about any of these organizations that I've mentioned so far, again, reach out to me on social media, put a comment in any of the episodes that have mentioned said organization that you want to know more about. Now I want to tell you about RCAST a little more. So we had our first Central Arkansas podcaster meetup for RCAST in July. This is still relatively new to the state, the Arkansas Podcast Collaborative, and we are trying to spread the word about our nonprofit and how we can help aspiring podcasters, current podcasters, podcast producers, and the like, how we can share information, how we can build a community of creators and storytellers, and really how we can tell these stories of people in Arkansas, of Arkansas businesses, and all other things that might interest you if you are a podcast listener. So we had that meetup here in Central Arkansas over at the office where we have our podcast studio in Little Rock. It was an awesome turnout. We were so excited. We actually have our second Central Arkansas podcaster meetup that is going to be Thursday, August the 22nd, again at our podcast studio in Little Rock. You can find that event on social media or on Eventbrite. Get your RSVP in, and we'd love to see you there. I mentioned earlier that planning has escalated, and we are in the thick of things getting ready for RCAST 2024. We are kicking off with the first leg of RCAST 2024 Central Arkansas. That's going to be on September the 14th. We're going to have that at the Delta Hotel. It's going to be a full day of workshops, of keynote speakers, of an artist alley where you can go through and meet some local podcasters. If you are a subject matter expert, then we highly encourage you to come and check us out as well, because we always have podcasters that are looking for guests. So what better place to come and tell about what you know than somewhere with someone who is hosting a podcast. So again, that is going to be Thursday, August 22nd, where we have our podcaster meetup, and Saturday, September 14th is the kickoff to RCAST Central Arkansas at the Delta Hotel here in Little Rock. Then we go to October. We have our celebratory event for our podcast award nominees. So when we went to Podcast Movement in March in LA, they had a podcast awards called the Ambies. So we are doing a spinoff and having an event at the Ravington in Centerton, Arkansas, celebrating all of the nominees that were mentioned in our podcast nominations for the podcast awards. That will happen at the kickoff of the ARCAST NWA event on November 14th in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We also, in October, though, have a live Halloween podcasting event at the Ron Robinson Theater in Little Rock. That's going to be awesome. So, some of our planning committee members and board members have been building some really amazing sets and putting together these different lineup of speakers, and just the whole event is going to be so fantastic, the first of its kind here in Arkansas, and we hope that you attend those two events. Even if you're not a nominee, if you would like to come out, then you know what? Give me a shout and we can probably get you a ticket up there as well. Then for ARCAST NWA, we're kicking off on November the 14th. Again, that's going to be our podcast awards ceremony, followed by 2 days packed full of breakout sessions and workshops, keynote speakers, networking opportunities, and all things podcasting at the Fayetteville Library. That's going to be in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Again, that's November 15th and 16th. We cannot wait, y'all. This is seriously, I cannot believe we are already on the third year of ARCAST. And shameless plug, I'm actually leading one of the breakout sessions at the Delta Hotel on the Saturday, September 14th event. So if you would like to come out and hear more about my journey in podcasting and creating Spotlight with Brit, I would love to have you. This has been so much fun, and I've really learned so much. I'm honored to have had the guests on that have been interviewed, that have told their stories of who they are, where they've come from, what they've overcome, and told us about an amazing organization that's near and dear to their heart, a nonprofit or another organization that gives back, that's community centric. And if you want to get involved, y'all, I'm an avid networker. I will find a place to plug you in. Do not worry. Now, since I've gone over everything that has happened, a few things that are on the horizon, I want to tell you quickly about that Champions event last night and highlight. Another event that's coming up is going to be Amp Out Alls. We learned last night at the Champions event that Stephanie Cook, the executive director, actually had approached David Rainwater, a great friend of hers, about 12 years ago. And she told him all about the amazing organization, Alzheimer's Arkansas. She wanted to find a way to bring together the caregivers in our natural state that are naturally amazing and so willing to give of their time freely, unpaid, to care for their loved ones who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. And the way that they went about doing that was creating a concert evening of fun, and they had their first event at the Rev Room. They had a great band come in and play all night. Lots of dancing and fun was had by all, and they did not foresee it being a second go around. They thought it was a one and done, and after the weekend of marinating on everything, coming back and just kind of rehashing all the events of the evening, they knew there was no way they could stop at one. Y'all, they are about to have their 10th year of Amp Out Alls. I'm going to tell you more about that event in an episode coming to you very soon, so don't miss out, but stay tuned in November to find out more, or simply go to alzark.org and check out their calendar of events. Get ready to go to the Amp Out Alls 10, and don't forget, there is honestly, if you kind of like the recovery scene, if you have not personally been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, you likely, I would say there is a 98% chance that you know someone that has been diagnosed, or you know someone that is a caregiver of someone that has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. And Alzheimer's Arkansas, they are focused on the caregivers, giving back, giving them an opportunity to have a little bit of respite, to take a breather, even though if they had it their way, I'm sure 24/7 they would be there with that person that they're caring for. But we all know that we need to take time for self-care, and so that is something that they're focused on, and just really getting involved and shining a light, giving some hope to those caregivers, and giving back to Arkansas. So, at that Champions event, y'all, it was amazing to hear some of the testimonies of the people that got up that were either awarded the different recognitions for the evening, or to hear the story of the MC, to hear the story of the chair of the event. Just, if you haven't listened to the I Didn't Sign Up for This podcast, check it out. I didn't sign up for this. Alzheimer's Arkansas. Stay tuned for more information about that event coming up in November at the Hall in Little Rock. Now, I want to switch gears, and if you've listened to season 1, especially if you listen to the trailers or the first episode, you will know that I have really taken an interest in telling stories of not only trials and troubles that people that I've interviewed have overcome, but if they feel comfortable, we've highlighted some stories about God and how they've been impacted spiritually through their faith, and what kind of hope and inspiration has come from these experiences that they have triumphed. Honestly, we are all set to have struggles in our life, and unfortunately, it's not something we can get over. And it seems like when one thing goes wrong, several things start to fall apart. But I don't know if you believe in God, I don't know if you pray, but I do want to refer to several different things that have come up in a study that I've been doing. Paul and I actually started studying First Thessalonians, and it's interesting because we have like a Sunday school book that we do for our Sunday school classes, and then we also have a daily devotional book that we reference every day during the week that ties into the Sunday school lesson. And in the spring quarter, March, April, and May, I think it's, well, maybe not needless to say, but there was a lot going on, and so I faltered a lot. Just like someone in long-term recovery, you're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have great days, and you might have the sporadic day of weakness. And unfortunately, there were times that I had days and weeks of weaknesses, and I think I would really tell you, of all the things that got me through, it would be prayer and time with God, and being grateful and acknowledging all the things that couldn't have happened without God and His presence in my life. I don't want to give you my whole testimony, but I will tell you that it's been a little over 10 years now. So, 10 years and a few days. I was baptized in my church, Landmark Missionary Baptist Church in North Little Rock, actually, Landmark Missionary Baptist Church of Rose City, on August 3rd of 2014, and it I was raised in a Catholic church. I went to a private school from kindergarten all the way through high school, and I started exploring the Baptist faith right after my uncle passed away from his brain aneurysm. And it was a crazy time, but I will tell you, there are no coincidences, and there are so many amazing things that came from my decision to be baptized and to move forward in my faith as a Baptist, a missionary Baptist. And there are just so many things that I feel like without God in my life and guiding me, I would not have come to see, experience, what have you, where I am at this point in my life today. So, I was telling you that we're doing a study in First Thessalonians. Well, we did the study in church a few months ago. Paul and I are going back in now, and we are refreshing. I'm learning a little more. Paul was a pastor at one time, and so he's very well versed in scripture, and he actually leads our Wednesday night discussion and discipleship class. So if you don't have a home church, quick plug: Landmark Missionary Baptist Church of Rose City, 100 Conway Road in North Little Rock. We would love to have you come and visit. I don't want to get too much in the weeds there because I could go on for days telling you all the awesome stories about the people that go to church with me and the wonderful things that have happened in my life, especially since I have been baptized and been a member of Landmark. So I want to jump in and not take too long on this, but I want to highlight some things that I've come across in this study that I felt the urge to share, especially after the Champions event last night and the event that, the class discussion that we had this evening, and everything that has just transpired over these last few months, these last couple of years. We actually, quick interjection here. July 27th of 2022, the partnership between Ty King and myself of American Business Engine happened. So we just had our 2-year partnership anniversary. And if you're not familiar with American Business Engine, check us out at AmericanBusinessEngine.com or on social media. So, I mentioned, do you believe in God? Do you pray? I really hope that you have a relationship with God. And if you don't, I'm sure there's a reason that you don't. And I'm not somebody, whether it's personally or professionally, I've never been the kind of person that would try and force any ideas, beliefs, any kind of product or service that I was selling in my secular job. I am not a pushy person in any means, but I just want to share a little bit of stuff with you that, as part of Spotlight with Brit, this is really kind of goes back to where the overarching concept of my podcast comes from. So, light, when you think of God, you think of light. So, God is light, God is love, and also when you think of light, you think of brightness, you think of cheer, you think of happy as opposed to darkness, gloom, doom, sadness. So, this podcast, Spotlight with Brit, is all about highlighting wonderful things that are going on across the awesome natural state of Arkansas, Soon, I will be going outside of the state and having some more interviews with other people that I've met. So, look forward to those. But so far, I've been interviewing people that I've met networking around Arkansas, and quite a few of the interviews have brought up God. And so, again, I don't feel like there are any coincidences. And all of these people I've been blessed to have put in my path. And all of these events over the last few months, I feel, have brought me even stronger than I was when they came and started. When you hit something, hit a wall, you come across a trial, something that you've got to struggle with, you feel defeated and you have to fight against that feeling of defeat. And so when I'm in that situation, I come back to my faith. I come back to First Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 16 and 17. Rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing. Also Psalm 55 verse 17. Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. Again, we're going to have those times of despair, of sadness, but as they say in Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10, do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. Those are a few verses that just really speak to the blessing that you can have if you have a relationship with God. And if you don't, again, no pressure here, but I would love to have a conversation with you and just talk through any issues, any questions, whatever may come up in that conversation. I'm I'm all ears. Every morning when I pray, every time that I have a chance and I take a moment to pray throughout the day, I either thank God for the people that He has put in my path, or I pray that He will give me someone that I can connect with and bless them and help them, even though they may not be able to do the same for me in return. And, we unfortunately, we do experience those downtrodden times. And one of the things that I want you to remember, it's mentioned in First Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 3, and it says, so that no one would be disturbed by these afflictions, for you yourselves know that we have been destined for this. So basically, it's talking about the fact that we are all going to face trials. We are all appointed to suffer, and that might seem crazy. We all hope that we don't go through any terrible experiences, but it's life. It's going to happen. And if you don't have someone that you can rely on to be your cornerstone, to be your rock, you have got an amazing opportunity to do that in the relationship that you have by coming to know God. I I just I told you I don't want to go into my whole testimony, but it's been a huge blessing and a great opportunity, I feel, to be able to experience everything that I have. And I know that had I not put my faith in God when I was let go from THV 11, that I would not have experienced all these amazing experiences that I have been able to enjoy these last 2 years. This journey has been just a wild ride. I have learned so much, and honestly, I am. Sometimes, the life of an entrepreneur is hard, and you don't want to do it. It can be very overwhelming, especially if it's just you running your business or you and a partner. In my case, it can be very hard. But if you have that passion, if you have that love for what you do, it's not always about making the six digits. that six-figure income it's wonderful, but it can have some really hard trials, some punches to the gut, some depressing days, and you know, in 2022, when I took this leap of faith, I had prayed and prayed for 6 months. And when I tell you that I felt this calmness, this peace in my decision to do what I was going to do and partner with Ty, an American business engine, and learn how to build websites and be able to do these digital marketing campaigns for our clients and fundraise and plan and host events. Y'all, I didn't know what kind of a wild ride it was going to be, but I have been nothing but blessed and grateful for every day. And I actually am in the midst of getting ready to attend a women's retreat through it's the ABA, the Lone Oak Association is actually our region, and we go to Bud Creek, and we're going to have our retreat next weekend. And we are actually planning the skit. So the ladies auxiliary at my church, Landmark Ladies, there are four of us, and we've got a skit that we're going to do. And ironically enough, it refers to facing trials. And I couldn't help but include this in this episode. So I want to read you James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. So consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And perseverance has become a key word for me in this journey. And I just honestly, I don't know that I would be as mentally stable as I am right now were it not for God and my faith. Because I, there are days when I just want to crawl back in the bed and not get up, not go do anything. But I know that I have people that are depending on me. And I know that I have people that need me to help them move their business forward and to continue to invest in them and to not only invest in them but ultimately invest in myself. And by taking this time and this opportunity for growth, to reflect on the things of the past, to fail forward, that has been a huge challenge. But let me tell you, once you can master that, once you can just jump in and start something, even though it may not be perfect, it's like this podcast. I had a different episode planned to launch for season 2. And after these last couple days, I just decided that I couldn't do anything but take my notes, jump in here, and really just, it might be a long episode today, y'all, but if you've made it this far with me, I appreciate you. I am so grateful that you're here. And I just want to share a last few things before I close this first episode of season 2. So, in reading First Thessalonians chapter 3, I have referenced from Zondervan, the publisher Zondervan, their New International Version, or NIV, Life Application Study Bible, and their NASB, New American Standard Bible, Thin Line Bible. So I have this really pretty Thin Line Bible. It's small, compact. It's like this turquoise color with some gold leaf on the paper edges. And then my Life Application Study Bible that has all of the notes that I'm about to read a little bit from for you. It's this real pretty pink. It's got silver edged pages, and I've got some lines drawn in them. I've got the creasing in the pages, so it has definitely been put to use. And I want to share this with y'all real quick. So if you go and you read 1 Thessalonians chapter 3, this is some of the things that it notes about that chapter. Some think that troubles are always caused by sin or a lack of faith. Trials may be a part of God's plan for believers. Experiencing problems and persecutions can build character, perseverance, and sensitivity toward others who also face troubles. Problems are unavoidable for God's people. Your troubles may be a sign of effective Christian living. Some people turn to God with the hope of escaping suffering on earth, but God doesn't promise that. Instead, He gives us power to grow through our sufferings. The Christian life involves obedience to Christ despite temptations and hardships. During persecution or pressure, believers should encourage one another. Christians who stand firm in the Lord are an encouragement to ministers and teachers who can see the benefit of their work and those who remain faithful, and also an encouragement to those who are new in their faith, who can learn from the steadfastness of the mature. If we are full of God's love, it will overflow to others. It's not merely enough to be courageous, It's not enough merely to be courteous to others. We must actively and persistently show love to them. Our love should be growing continually. If your capacity to love has remained unchanged for some time, ask God to fill you again with His never-ending supply. Then look for opportunities to express His love. So, in reading all of this to you and saying everything that I've said to you in this first episode of the second season of Spotlight with Brit, I want to close with how much I encourage you to not only take time for self-care, but take time to spend with those that you love. Take time, be intentional about taking time and getting to know the Lord. Take time to, as David Rainwater said, do things you love with the people you love. Great things can happen. I want to thank Fitzhill. Shout out to Fitzhill of First and 45. This screenshot I saved here on my phone was from his story today. He posted Proverbs 16:9, and it says, "We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps." He writes, "We can strategically plan our lives based on the desires of our hearts, but God closes doors no man can open, and opens doors no man can close. We must learn to trust God in each instance." So, friends and listeners, I encourage you to not only put in the hard work that it takes to live each day to the fullest, I also encourage you to put in the heart work. Heart work. HEART. When you put your heart into the work, it's so much more rewarding. It takes the effort away. And honestly, you cannot even imagine what kind of a blessing just being in the presence of other people, such as these caregivers. What a blessing that can be. And you can learn from these stories, these triumphs over the struggles, these uplifting moments in despite of things that have made them downtrodden. They've really had to be picked up off the floor, like Miss Holly Fish said. And I'm so grateful that each and every one of you has listened, that you continue to listen. Please like, follow, subscribe, share, review, all of those things of the podcast Spotlight with Britt. And until next time, whatever time of the day it is, I hope that it is blessed for you. And I will talk to you again soon.